Okay. 2 minutes. Testing 1 2 3. 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 Make sure. Testing 1 2 3. Hey everybody, it's Mark. Welcome. Okay, good. Yeah, you're not.
It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful. It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. It's Mark Husson. This is Mark Husson's Astrology Hour coming to you live 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. I tell you, it's a beautiful June 16th. I hope you had a great Father's Day. I hope you got to celebrate or think of your dads. Or if you are a dad, that you got spoiled a little bit. I talked to one friend who said, yeah, he was spoiled. He was left home alone to babysit his dog, somebody else's dog. And he made the best of it, like dads typically do. How are you today? It's an Aquarius moon. It changes about 11 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. If you're new to the show, new to the broadcast, I hope you can make it over to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@MH Astrology. And then hit the live button. You should be able to see us. If you come into the room, you'll see the likes of Lynn. How are you? I've really been enjoying your shorts. Lenny Sparkling. I'm going to get these addresses for you guys and just post them in. They're lovely. Hopefully you can subscribe to the channels of people. And let me just tell you something real quick. When you subscribe, it's not like signing up for an email list. You don't get anything sent to you. It just shows interest and it allows you to find them more easily when you go to your YouTube. It shows you who you've subscribed to. If you hit the bell button will tell you when they posted something. So that's what you want to hit. I have one under my, you have to go to shorts, the short section of this MH Astrology page, and you'll see daily I'm putting up little 3-minute things about what's happening that day. So we're taking the show and we're sort of breaking it down into 3-minute segments, but I'm doing them original. I'm not just taking pieces of the show so that you can see where the moon is, what's happening, what it feels like, what the day could potentially feel like. It's like having a living Mark's Power Peak that C.A. Brooks writes. But me talking about them each day. So get notified on those so you can come and be a part of those or share them with a friend. It really helps us so much that you guys show your interest, and I really appreciate it. We have so many new ones out. Keith just did a few shorts, and the address there is, they all start with youtube.com. It's like at based medium, mystic, based mystic, BAS Mystic. And then Sahar has one. Terry Campbell has brilliant ones. Where do you see them? And so if you guys are in the chat room, post up your addresses so people can see them, because Terry, put yours in there. She's really been great and so supportive. Terry's really been such a sweet support. Everybody that has been participating in this has been remarkable. And then we have the silent participators who kind of don't get a lot of credit, but I know you guys are out there and I know you're liking the videos and talking on them. So thank you for doing that, and welcome into the room. Hey, Shelly, welcome. And Patricia's here and Pamela's here. Good morning. So happy to be able to hear you today. Hope that there's good news for this week. Hey, it's me, baby. You know there's good news. Terry, thank you. She said your astrological moment today is superlative. That's very sweet, Terry. Thank you so very much. I loved your book. I love that. I love that style. Erica, hey, Mark, listening from work, closing up the last days of school year. Pretty excited, probably more than the little kids. Erica, I love it. Enjoy it. I love that you're a teacher. Hi, Karen. That's so sweet. Thank you for loving the shorts. I love that. I am so digging them, but I'm telling y'all a secret. This is for you all, because hopefully they'll get popular. But I have a wardrobe change next to me. It's a rack of different t-shirts so I can wear. So when I'm on a roll and I want to do several in a row, I have to look like I'm on a different day. Shh, don't tell anybody. Hey, Carla, thanks for being here. That's so sweet. Thank you. That's so kind. Oh, good, you guys. You telling me you love them means that I don't have to wonder, am I doing these for you? Thank you. It gives me energy. Thank you. I don't need to hear that you love them. You can say, I hate them. I read them every day. It's at Terry Talk 12. So, and Terry is spelled Terri. So if you go to youtube.com/@TerryTalk, 12, you'll find Terry's brilliant moments. Wait till you see what she's doing with these moments. It's very good astrological stuff. Pamela, thank you. Denise Francis, hi. I love seeing you every day. You are so sweet, and you have been so kind. Thank you. You really, it means the world to me, Denise. Thank you so much. Hi, Jean. The sun is shining in upstate New York. Yay. We know that's a big breakthrough. I'm West Virginia, born and raised. Me and John share New York stories. He tells me that Rochester was just overcast daily, and I'm like, not more than West Virginia. Trust me. Erica's in the house. Erica, your show is so spot on, so wonderful. I'm so grateful that you are willing to do a show before mine, because that means you not really getting up early because you got the advantage of being in London, but your show is wonderful. And just the fact that you pull it off and you produce it and you come through loud and clear and your messages are great. Thank you for that. Erica's one of my shorts just went ballistic, just little ducks in a row. Now I'm getting my ducks in a row. Erica, do put the address of your shorts. I'm so excited about these shorts. I want to subscribe to all of them and get notified when they're up, because they're inspirational and it's fun seeing you guys. It really is. Serena's in the house. Hi, Serena. Happy Monday. I just wanted to let you know that you aren't streaming on 12 Radio. You're so right. Serena, you are so right. Girl, that is, oh, I'm not streaming. Wait a minute. Why aren't I though? I didn't know. No, because I pressed the broadcaster and it's showing that I'm broadcasting. Isn't that funny? I don't know, Serena. We'll let it be because at least this is going and you all can hear me. And that's really important to me too. I'll figure out the 12 Radio thing at some point. Geez, thanks for letting me know though. I didn't know. So people who aren't listening through YouTube may not be able to hear. So thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it so much. And I'm going to, now I want to talk a little bit. Let me get this about what's happening. And I'm going to bring the screen up so you can see that. There it is. There it is. Okay. So, give me a second here, you guys, to refresh it. We want, yeah. Let's restart that. There we go. Okay, now you can see what I'm seeing. This is today's chart. And those of you that are just listening in, if you are listening in, don't worry about it. I sent this out in the email. So if you aren't on the email, there's so many things to get connected here. So many ways to get connected. Wait a minute. Video is off? Okay, good. It's going to be a day. It says it's on. Thanks, Terry. Maybe restart if you're not seeing anything, okay? Because I'm seeing it. All right. So this chart is basically telling me that today the moon is in the, there. Let's see what happened. It did disconnect. Jeez, oh man. Okay, I'm going to reconnect you guys. We'll see what happens. Okay, it says we're coming back. Let's see if that happens. It's coming. Hold on. I think it's going to do it. I think it's going to do it. There we are. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're going to live with these technical things, especially when Uranus is involved, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So, good. All right. So let's take a look here. Here's Uranus right here at 28 degrees of Taurus. Here's Mars at 29 degrees of Leo. Taurus and Leo are both fixed signs. One is fire, one is earth. One is in the middle of spring, one is in the middle of summer, and they don't like each other. Okay, now it's not that Leos and Tauruses don't like each other, but the energy of these two, earth and fire, are exact opposites. They don't enjoy the way the other does something. So when you're fighting with an earth sign, you accuse them of not having any fire. Get off your butt. Quit sitting on the couch, that kind of thing. And when you are arguing with fire, you'll say something like, "You never stop. You're so ungrounded. Come back in your body." And fire signs are like Aries, Leo, Sag. And the earth signs are Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. This Taurus and this Leo are kind of fighting. And Mars is like, I want to do my own thing. I'm going to push forward. Let's go get them. You're wrong. I'm right. Yada, yada. And Uranus is like, Psh, I don't deal with people. I deal with the bigger picture. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And we're going to keep things the way they are. Or I'll change them. It'll be up to me. And Mars is like, forget you. I'm going to fight my way forward. And that's one way to look at it. And think about this. This is the energy, this is Mars in Leo, the 29th degree, the last point of Leo. This is the point where all of the energies of Leo are concentrated. The most you can get of any Leo is right now, this Mars in Leo, right? And notice what the name of the protests around the country were for the Americas. I guess it was in the United States. I don't know. Maybe it was around the world. No kings. No, isn't that funny when you think about it? Mars and Leo. And Uranus is like abdicate, like get out, like eject, break it down, okay? So there's those protests were definitely emblematic of what this transit did globally, okay? Now, on a personal level, I wonder how many of you all had little breakdowns or little arguments or little feelings of not being seen or moments where it didn't feel like you were getting your due or you got offended. Because if you, any of those things, you were doing this Mars and Leo trip. And the Uranus trip for us is always like to leave, to do something, to be different, to go away, to break it down. And some of us were experiencing that, like over the last 3 or 4 days. Okay, I mean, America loves a protest, so you expected those. Violence, yeah, this is typical under this aspect because it's a way to express the anger, and I don't like it, any of it. I don't like any of it. And I've talked to friends who are so proud of this event, these things, and to me, it's sort of like I don't like when this expression of violence is anywhere. I don't. It's like ooh. So what I wanted to do was in myself, notice over the past 3 or 4 days, and I'm going to put these up together so we can talk at the same time. I wanted to have a situation where I was okay. I wanted to notice if I was feeling offended by anything. I wanted to know if I was feeling, and I was. There were several things that were offending me, and I was like, okay, then bite your tongue here, or now, or say something, but do it consciously. And I had a big breakthrough yesterday. I had, yes, body breakdowns count. Oh, how sweet. Thank you, Connie, so much. Erica's saying that in the UK, they had the No Kings on the news in the UK. So when you're fighting like that, when that energy's sort of breaking out into the world, which is fine, it's fun to track different things like different cycles of this. Now, I want to explain, this is just an opportunity to explain a little bit about how these things work. Mars is moving very rapidly. So Mars is going around the chart, and I'll put Mars back on the screen. Mars is going around the chart like about a degree a day, right? Uranus takes a lot longer. So that means that in the course of a year, Mars will have come to the opposite point of Uranus in Scorpio. Mars will go to the Aquarius, the other side of Taurus, the other fixed sign in air. You don't have to know those. I'm just telling you, it squares when it's the opposite sign of Leo in Aquarius, and it conjuncts it in Taurus. Now, that already happened several times over the past year. For example, but I wanted to say the last time, and I want you all to do your own research on this, the last time we had this exact square, because Uranus stays in Taurus for 7 years. Mars moves around in about a sign every month and a half. So Mars was in Leo back in June of 23. Okay, and in June of 23, just Google it for yourself, ask your AI. I hope you guys are getting involved in AI a lot more, just asking questions, just enjoying it before it takes over the world and takes your life away. But enjoy it while you can, before it wakes up and realizes we're really relying on it. And I'm just teasing. Mars, it was in June of 23, the last time it was there, was when it was in Leo. So that was like two years ago, almost to the day, 2 years ago. Go back and just see what the cycle was like, what it felt like. Now, Mars was in Aquarius, the opposite sign where it is now, still squaring Uranus, was in March of 24. Now, think about this for a minute. I looked at I said, I want good news and bad news. Well, you remember Alexei Navalny, the Russian sort of like enemy of Russia, and they killed him. And then his wife spoke out, and it was really scary because they had him in prison. They brought him out, and he died. It was awful. But he was a voice calling out Russia, and he was demonstrating the cruelty. And that happened. That was the square. And a lot of us were involved in that, like watching that really closely. Also, what happened was a whale species that they thought was extinct was rediscovered. And the other thing that happened is they found that the coral reefs that were dying, that they were replanting, actually took. There was like really good breakthrough news, Aquarian type news, right? Like universal news. But that's kind of fun. And then one other thing that I wrote down to make a note of was that in July of 24 was when Mars came to meet Uranus head on, like in the same planet, in the same sign at the same degree. And then we had the assassination attempt on Trump. We had and that was the bad thing. And then the Japanese developed a plastic that dissolves in seawater. That's insane. And that's the good news. So, yeah, there was something else that happened in Seoul, Korea. You can look it up. It wasn't good. It was some kind of train crash, I think. Something that was India, but something happened in Seoul, Korea. You can look it up. Just check the dates. What my point is, when you look at the events of Mars and Uranus, it's usually there's a really intense thing and there's a really good thing. But Uranus surprises you. And I used to have this deal with Uranus. Like whenever it was close or doing something, I'd say, it's going to do this. But it would secretly, I would think it's really going to do this, but it has to think, I'm thinking it's going to do this because Uranus likes to rebel. Hi, Maureen. Welcome. Terry's my moderator officially, Terry. I don't care if you like it or not. You're my moderator. You don't have to be here every week. I'm just saying that. But you're so kind and you're so good, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, and thank you, Serena. It's so reassuring to have you here. I'm so proud of Serena. She's a mom. She's young. I throw this in her face a lot. I know she doesn't feel young, but she's young. But when you're my age, everybody's young. It's so great. Like, you're young. It's cool. And she's really working to make this stuff on YouTube work for everybody at the staff at 1-2. And I just want to consciously acknowledge you, Serena. Thank you for your help and support in that. Little Sag. She's a Sag. She married a Sag. And so it's like, that's a fire family, right? All right. Hi, Terry. This East Coast gal will stick to Atlantic City. That's so cute. The East Coast, it's so funny. Well, I'll tell stories about that later. So here's you guys just remember this about Uranus. I try to fool it because you can't really make predictions of Uranus. The whole point with Aquarius ruled planets, which that is that it's surprising. It rebels. The whole point of an Aquarian is to rebel. So when you want to see Aquarians dressing normal is when the culture on the whole has gone mad and dressing crazy. Then you'll see Aquarians assume a more reserved position or posture, but they will surprise. That's their goal. That's Uranus. Break down the existing structures and let them rebuild, or don't break them down and let everybody think you're going to. So that's what's happening now. Now notice that Mars is leaving here, and I can move this chart up a day, and I'll show you that Mars is going into Virgo tomorrow. So we have the end of the Leo cycle, which is very intense. The beginning of the Virgo cycle, which is like vacuum cleaners become your weapon of choice. I'm sorry. Mars in Virgo is like, it's like, wow. I love how they clean. And I love when I live with the Mars in Virgo. But it's like, there's very little difference between being terrorized and stepping out of the way of the vacuum cleaner coming your way. Seriously, there is very little difference. So Mars is going into Virgo tomorrow. Be ready. And what happens, what I want you to be aware of is a couple of things. It'll be opposing the moon because the moon will have entered Pisces. And so we'll use that energy. It's likely that there will be cleanup energy in a big way. Okay. And so what you want to do is check out the way it appears in your life. Check out the way that you decide you want to get things in order. See if your critic mind says, I really need to do something with this place. Now, if you have that energy going, this is the time to really do something about it, okay? Because you have the support monthly of the moon, but you don't get this sort of 30-day support of Mars telling us, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's solve this issue of what's cluttery. Beyond clutter, it's about cleaning up the environment. Beyond the environment, it's about getting things in order that you need, helping people in need, being of service. And we're going to see this new service thing come into play. It'll be interesting to see how it happens on a global level, but personally, we're going to see it in our own lives. The only thing I'm careful about is you want to avoid the self-criticism. I think you want to avoid criticism of your friends. You can criticize whatever you want. You're certainly allowed. But I think it's important to avoid using this as a weapon too hard against people that you know or you care about, okay? Because if you know Mars and Virgo people, they're kind of hard to argue with. They know their stuff, right? It's like Saturn and Virgo people. They all that, when you have intense energy in Virgo, they kind of feel like they know what's right. They act like they know what's right. You want to punch them out sometimes, but no violence. But you are like, that is sort of like the I'm always right and they always are right, but the attitude about it makes them grossly right, and you don't want that. But don't be that person, okay? That's all I'm saying. That is so sweet. Thank you. Pamela likes when I laugh. I like laughing. It's so fun. And I do like to think of myself as typically that kind of happy person. We're going into Cancer, and I want to talk to you about that. But next week is we're going to deep dive into Cancer. But Jupiter is in Cancer now, and there was a couple things that are happening that I want you to be aware of. Jupiter and Saturn are square. I want you to look at this chart real quick with me. We're going to jump over to Jupiter and Saturn. This is a big deal, but check this out. Here's Jupiter at 1 degree. Here's Jupiter at 1 degree of Cancer. Look at Saturn over here. 1 degree of Cancer, of Aries. Again, let's talk about squares, you guys. This is really important. Every season, I want you to hear this, and I know you've heard it a million times maybe if you stayed with me, but every season has 3 components, a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you get a middle sign with another middle sign, they're going to clash. Unless they're opposite, and that's a whole nother story, but they're basically next to each other, they're going to clash. So let me give you an example. Aries is a cardinal sign. It brings in spring. The next available sign going forward is summer. That's Cancer. Cancer brings in summer. Those two energies are both aggressive energies that dominate an element that doesn't particularly like each other, the elements. So you have water, which is the ruler of the emotional element, okay? And you have fire, the ruler of inspirational elements, activity, action. And they're like, they get together and they create steam, but it's sort of like, I don't get your motive. I don't like how you're doing that. And I can't even tell you how many times with my Aries friends, I'm like, I don't get you. No offense to all my Aries friends. And they feel the same exact way. Like, I stay home a lot. I'm a Cancer. I am like classic Cancer. It didn't help. It didn't hurt that I had a Virgo mother who hid in the house, so I was comfortable at home, right? And so my Aries friends are like, you're still home? When the sun came out, I had Aries friends all through my life. When the sun would come out, you couldn't see them. They were gone. So the difference is that push forward, the movement, the energy, Cancers do it in a different way. They move the energy through water, through emotion. Those guys aren't going to understand the motive. They're not going to understand each other. And it never fails. There's always this, because John is air, and he has a Jupiter in Aries. He has a definite affinity for the Aries energy. So I get a lot of people at Aries around me. But I can promise you at some point, it breaks down to a point of like, okay, let you go do you, I'll do me. And that's just, that's it. But there's also like a lot of love and respect in the space. There has to be, right? Because I have Aries in my chart. They have Cancer in their chart. There has to be a place where we do get along. So, but my whole life, I remember my young Aries when I was young, I hung out a lot with a big family. And one of the Aries children, she came in to the kitchen where we were all gathered, and she said, Mark, I knocked over your bike. And her mother said, what? Did you pick it up? She said, no, I didn't do it on purpose. And it was like, wow, that is my experience of when they're on a roll. They're going to do what they're going to do, right? And I got it, though. At that age, even, I got astrology. I really did. I understood it. So when Jupiter and Saturn are conflicting, I want you to try to understand this. In a square, which is like this sort of V-shaped thing where you have, it sort of makes a 90-degree angle, we call it. It makes a sort of like a place where they'll meet in the middle. I'm bringing it back up. There we go. And so when these two planets are sort of fighting, we'll call it a fight, it creates a tension of energy. Saturn wants to have some restriction and build something, and Jupiter wants to expand. Saturn's like, stop. Like Jupiter wants to do, let's pop the top, and Saturn's like, no, let's build the basement. It's that kind of opposite energy. In the world, the Saturn-Jupiter squares are a time when we do want to find a compromise to like where you want to leap, but you want to make sure, like if you're feeling like you need to expand something in your life right now, you're going to get a ton of support to do it, but you have to consider Saturn. You can't just say, forget you. You have to say, okay, what do I need to do to make sure the foundation of my building is in place? Okay. Now, Saturn might want to say, don't worry about offending people with this project because this is you and you have a right to do this. And Jupiter's like, no, we need to consider all feelings. It's in Cancer. And they need to find a compromise. And squares always ask us to do that. Two things about squares. You don't have to compromise less than, but if you're going to do it, do your Jupiter stuff, stop, take a breath, and then go do the responsibility stuff. Do one or the other. You're born with squares. We all have them. And they are useful when you're separating them out. Like now I'm going to meditate, but then I'm going to go be crazy and wild. But I'm not going to bring those two worlds together. They don't understand each other, so there's no point in trying. Let me see how you all are doing. I'm checking the room. Mars in Virgo energy, Terry is saying, is really craftsmanlike. It's kind of a finesse, even in the most mundane acts. It has flair. Okay, there you go. There's one version of it where you can use it to really get things done in a pristine, and like you could build something with this Mars because Virgo has that sort of perfectionism. And Terry's using the word craftsman, which is really good. My Virgo moon made plans yesterday to clear clutter today. Yay. Good, Shelley. That's perfect. Erica Martin is saying, thank you. I'm looking for some change. And for Mark, I have Venus in Virgo. I do understand that Mars in Virgo thing. Yes, you not only understand it, you appreciate it. Wherever your Venus is, you have an appreciation. When Mars comes into play, and let me tell you what the Magi say about this. When Mars comes into play, and it complements your Venus, it's a really fertile time, but it's also a time fertile for creativity, fertile for like manifesting, for like creation. And so if you have a project that you want to get done, like Venus and Virgo, I know so many of you guys, and that alone time is so precious. And so using it, Mars is going to give you energy on how to use that, even if there are people around. Becky, that's hilarious. What of, I'm not sure what you're referencing, but I love that. Saturn square, foot on gas while braking underwater. That's funny. What if Aries sun with Saturn rising? I'm quite the homebody. Yes, so here's the fun thing to do with your rising sign. If you're a Cancer rising, look to your moon. And tell us where your moon is if you can, if you know Becky. Oh, she has a Virgo moon. There it is, girl. If you're a Cancer rising and the moon is Virgo, isolation is key. But if you had a Gemini moon, different story. So the ruler of the rising sign is everything about the personality of the chart. Isn't that powerful? Who would have thought? Which means you kind of need your time of birth to know that. So you people that don't have it, just put your sun there. It's fine. It still makes sense. But for somebody to go into nuance, that's why you might meet another Cancer rising who's really outgoing. It's that ruler, Virgo, that says, y'all need to stay away for a minute. And Virgo and Aries combo is sort of like, hey, world, I'm good. You know what I mean, right? It's like, I'm okay. Thank you. See ya. I do the same thing. I have Scorpio rising, right? But I have Pluto, the ruler of that, in Leo at the top of the chart. So there's a part of me that likes being here with you guys. And then when the door shuts, it's like, woo, see ya. Bye. Not to you guys, but like to the world. Like I'm here. I'm in my home. I'm cleaning up. I'm making bread. Oh, do you know what this says? This says l'homme du pain, l'homme du pain. It's the bread man. I love it. I love that pain is the French word for bread. And I found this hat and I was like, oh my God, I need this hat. And so I was playing a video game, one of my slot machine games, and it's French. And every time the bread would drop, the little character animated would go, le pain. So do you know that I took French in the 6th grade? I was terrible at it, but I loved it. I fell in love with it, never understood. And then I read my last name. People were reaching out to me a few years ago saying that my name is French. And I was like, no, it's Lebanese. And they're like, no, it's French. And it turns out that the French occupied Lebanon for a long time, I guess. And so I have that in my DNA, I think, the love of the French language and the culture. But it was really interesting to find that out, that even my name had some Frenchness to it. Okay. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. So there's so much that we can play with here, but I want to talk this square time period. Okay, you guys, squares, their energy. And that's why it's so easy for people. Hi, Melissa, and I'll address that. It's why it's so easy for people to get riled up. Okay. And sometimes we get misguided. Now, I want you to be clear, because you could have your feelings hurt inadvertently and not even and you don't want to think about it. You're just doing your Mars and you're just pushing away. And that's what I mean by sometimes it's breakdowns happen and we need the observer to kick in. And what we need is we need that voice in our head that's basically comes in and says, okay, I looked yesterday and I was like, why did that hurt my feelings? Or why was I offended at that? And I realized that there was some miscommunication going on, but there was also a part of me that wanted to confront it head on. And I was like, you know what, write it down, let's feel it out. And I really guided it to a safe landing. And I'm so glad I did, because later you realize, wow, you get into that passion of it. And it really feels good when you're angry and you feel that boiling to have a place to put it. It kind of feels good, but only in that moment. It's one of those things where it's like a quick fix, but it doesn't really bring you to any resolve or any peace. Now, these squares happening now are going to give us choices everywhere. And that's why I said, do one, then wait, do the other. Look at it in your life as that you're being presented with a possibility of different choices, and it can be overwhelming. The way you do the choice thing, in my opinion, is slow things down a little bit and see if it's an absolute yes for you. Is this a yes? And if you're asking a bunch of people, should I, blah, 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 you know my thing. If it's not a yes, it's a no. So if you're asking for somebody else, if you really can't figure it out, because I have this thing, and I think we all have this component of Libra in us, and this is a very Libra trait. When a Libra wants something, they don't ask, they don't hem-haw, they don't debate, they don't weigh the scale, they don't ask for another menu. When a Libra wants something, they get it, period. I want you to remember this. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this applies to all of us. When Paris was given the golden apple, he was told to hand it to the most beautiful goddess. He knew of the 3 goddesses, it was Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. He knew whoever he gave it to, the other 2 were going to kill him because he's basically calling them ugly. But he was forced because Zeus said you got to. So what did Paris do? Paris gave it to the goddess that promised him what he wanted. And they all made a promise. I'll give you power. I'll give you wealth. I'll give you love. He picked love. But he said, if I'm going to die, give me what I want. Let me die happy. That's Libra. And in you is that Libran characteristic that we all share, because we all share the parts of the sign. And my point is, when you want something, you don't hem-haw around it. You see this in people, everyone you know. Nobody sits around and debates the thing they want. They debate when they're not sure. They debate and they get angry when they're absolutely not sure. You know, fanatics. Fanatics get loud. They get loud. They get forceful. Why? If you really believe what you're fanatic about, You don't do that. You're comfortable with, like, I'm comfortable with my spirituality. I'm comfortable with what I know, what I believe. Very. That's why you don't hear me talk about it a whole lot. I don't try to proselytize it. And if I do, then that's probably just me having an insecure moment. But I do believe that when we push hard, it's because we need the belief to sit out here so we can feel safe in it. But when we're just being us in the things we want, doing what we want, believing what we want, really comfortable in what we believe and what we do, we just do them. These squares represent the finality of that, the perfection of that. If you're doing something that you're enjoying doing, you don't mind taking care of all the pieces of it. If you're doing Jupiter, you don't mind going back and restructuring things so that they work better for you, so they're more secure. You don't mind building a foundation of Saturn if Jupiter needs to be put on hold to do some things that you're responsible for. That's Saturn. And what's funny is you'll see it reflected in the global world. You'll see responsible and secure. Like Jupiter in Cancer is about homeland. Saturn is about power and when it's in Aries, and independence. How are those things playing out? Watch it. You can have an opinion. Absolutely. You probably do. But watch that unfold, because that's the same reflection back to us in our personal lives during this week particularly. It's interesting. Next week, there's like a 36-hour void of course moon. I can't wait to talk to you about it. It happens on my show. But it's a long one. And so that gives us a lot more room to sort of play with. Well, certainly for us, that moon's going to be touching points, but we'll talk about that. Okay, let me see how you guys are doing. Erica has the trifecta of water at first hit. Sun in Cancer, Moon in Scorpio, and Pisces rising. I resemble that remark. Swimming in water. Yes, you are. One of my Lebanese friends has a very French-sounding last name. Says, oh, yeah, see, Gypsy, that's like right on. That's common, I guess. The Libra with Cap Moon. Okay, this Libra with a Capricorn moon, so those are two squares, right? The square, the moon, sun and moon were square when you were born, and a Gemini rising, and you have Venus in Scorpio. So you understand the square energy, because when you're doing the Cap moon of being serious and being stoic, you don't want to get into the Libra fluffy stuff. That moon needs to be serious. So you put that first, and then you get to be serious and take care of duties and responsibilities, and then the Libra can come in and be light and more social, and sometimes vice versa. But you'll notice how you play them off on each other. Okay, Pamela says, no kidding, I got run over by a library. A Libran. Oh, oh, you got run over by a Libran? And that is funny. And Terry loves the void of course moons. Yeah, so Terry's learned to find joy in them. I am 50-50 on them. It's where the moon is not going to make any other connections to any other planet. I'm a Cancer. I think it affects Cancers a little bigger because we're unhooked, and sometimes it's unhooked in a good way, and sometimes it's unhooked in a way like, can I just have a pillow and a blanket, please, and some popcorn and some TV, whatever. Let's see. Okay. Now, so let's review the week ahead, and let me give you some pointers that I think are important. So today, this afternoon, about 11 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, the moon's going to enter Pisces. You probably, oh, you know what? Speaking of people from my past, my first college dorm roommate, freshman year, my first one, reached out to me. And it was like, it was sort of exhilarating, like, oh my God. And that was under a Pisces moon when it happened. And now we're back at the Pisces moon part. But it was really sweet because I don't speak to anybody, rarely, from my past. Sun Uranus conjunction. See, we just, whatever. That's the Uranian thing. The Scorpio rising game. We all have the Scorpio rising people in here. I love that. I just realized Trump's Mars and Pluto is in Leo. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I didn't even bring that up. But hey, Slots, thanks for coming, Christy. That whole thing about Trump has Mars in Leo. So this Mars return makes perfect sense for him. Nobody should be surprised. Now, tomorrow, it's gone. It goes into Virgo. Whenever a planet changes sign, it's called an ingress. For those of you that see that word and go, what does that mean? It just means a planet shifted into the next sign. That's all it means. This ingress, this movement of Mars into Virgo tomorrow might make you feel a little wonky. You might feel the day is like, whoa. It's kind of what I call getting your sea legs. So see what happens. Feel it out. This is the end of it. Today is 29 degrees. You get as puffed up as you're going to get here. And then tomorrow it hits that point of like all that Virgo synthesis. Okay, we're coming back down to earth. Remember, the sign behind you lacks what you have. So what does Virgo have that Leo lacks? Well, there's a lot of things. Just like what does Leo have that Cancer lacks? There's a lot of things. So Cancer is secure, and I'll start with Cancer. Insecure, moves from side to side. Leo, proud, head up high. Virgo, head back down, confident about service to others, like other people exist. And it also is about order. Like Leos can be either neat or messy, depending on their connection to what, like, does that room reflect who they are, or they might demand neatness and not want anything to do with creating that. Virgo has the need to synthesize, to understand. Leo, like, it'll all be figured out. Leo doesn't want to mess with that stuff. So tomorrow we go into that new zone. Check it out and see what it does to you. Where is it in your personal chart? If you have a strong Virgo, if you have a moon in Virgo, if you have a Virgo rising, if you have a sun in Virgo, the next 30 days will lend itself to you losing your patience at least once, right? Or doing the killer vacuum cleaner thing where you're dangerous and you're pushing that thing like it's a weapon. Or where you get like into serious withdrawal mode, because Mars and Virgo can be, I'm withdrawing, I want to study, I want to read, I want to have this time for myself. Either way, check it out and see what the pool is in you. That's really important. Now, we're moving, that's an all-day Pisces moon with that Mars going into Virgo. So Tuesday, I think contemplative. I think we're going to be a little internal. We'll see. Wednesday, it starts changing in the afternoon back to Aries, like the 2:30 in the evening. Aries comes into play with the moon. And then all the way back down to Friday where we get the first day of Cancer. So that's the summer solstice is Friday. So we're building a beautiful little Aries moon thing. Aries is the first sign of spring. So when the moon's in Aries, we feel refreshed. We can shake it all off. Thursday, Juneteenth is always... that Aries moon is always going to be refreshing. That's where you're just going to be like, forget everybody. I'm not worrying about this stuff. Let's go. And then the sun will enter Cancer and we'll have our official day of summer on Friday with a Taurus moon going through the weekend. Sounds pretty sweet, because then I think you can sort of have cookouts. It'll be about food. It's kind of sad to me to have summer here already. It also means, closer to a birthday. None of it makes any sense to me anymore about the time thing. I know time has been, they say when you get older, time flies, but I'm hearing everybody say time flies. So, I remember Christmas, but it's coming up. And I remember what I did last year at this time. Here it is again. And I remember looking at my yard going, I have to mow. I don't want to mow. And that'll change tomorrow when that Mars goes into Virgo. Okay, let me take a look at you guys. Kelly, Scorpio moon. Look at all the Scorpio in the house. You guys are fun. So wherever your Scorpio is, Scorpios are having a pretty good time because Jupiter's now going into water. So when Jupiter goes into water, that means wherever your Scorpio is, that's going to get trined. We're going to talk a lot about this new Cancer Jupiter because you Geminis had your time. I think if you all look back and see wherever Gemini is in your chart, that was an uplift, that was a movement, that was a time of growth. Now it goes into the next house for you, Geminis, and for all of us, wherever Cancer is in your chart, that area of your life is about to blow up a little bit, okay? And hopefully a good way. Jupiter can be annoying. If you're a minimalist and you have a Jupiter transit, you could be annoyed that you're being pushed out. I mean, like seriously annoyed to the point where you might like not like it at all. So stay present with this Jupiter thing. We're going to look at now globally. We're looking at the world as a caregiver. We're looking at the world through the eyes of homes and provision and caring. So we're going to go from just information sorting, it was all about media, who's lying, who's not, blah, blah. And now I think we're going to shift that a little bit into more compassion, into more information that makes sense, and into more, it might be even nationalistic. I don't know, like where we say, this is my home. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Scorpios are, Nadine, they're going to have a great time. I do think the ruler, always look to your ruler. The ruler is in Aquarius, Pluto. But because Pluto squares Scorpio, the fact that it's the ruler of Scorpio makes it so much better. So don't worry about that. If you're an early bird Scorpio, Pluto's been squaring you. You might notice conflicts. Pluto is grandmother. It's matriarchal. You might notice conflict with mom. You might notice conflict with your own internal sense of the crone inside of each of us. But that we're like, I'm not being respected, or do I have the power that I need? All those questions will start emerging for Scorpio over the next few years, because it's going to be there for 14 years. Right now we have Venus in Taurus. I think we're learning to really enjoy the comforts. Hopefully you guys are enjoying food, doing some very comfort things with that Venus in its own sign. If you're a Taurus, you finally are getting some recognition. I hope that you're getting the recognition you need and getting the health and the healing that you need. It's very important. Okay, Neptune and Saturn have not yet come together, but the sewing together of our dreams is up and coming. Okay, let me see if you have any questions. Looks like you guys are doing good. Okay, do me a favor and remember that we have the House of Pool Sahar. We have Terry Talk 1-2. Keith, Serena, Life Journeys with Serena. Let's see if we can get the notify button for the dailies that these people are doing. We're doing shorts. I'm doing my daily shorts with Mark Husson's Astrology Moment. And then help me sculpt it, guide me. What do you want to hear? What do you think would be a good idea? I'm open to these things. I'm trying to get my staff onto YouTube, so your help is in loving them and supporting them. Thank you so much for that. Want to listen is where the bread and butter lies. That's where these people are. They live. That's where they make their money. And they've been working really hard, especially over the past month, to get that established and get that happening. And YouTube has been a big part of it. And so have you all. And if you are listening to this show and you're in this room and you have a place that I can subscribe to watch you and what you're doing, I would be so happy to do that. So please make it mutual. This isn't a one-way street. This is all of us coming together to help each other grow what we're doing and to get our voices out if you want your voice out. Okay? Okay. Hi, Quelly. Welcome. Lenny says, I love that I'm not only part of the Virgo Moms Club, but also a member of God's favorite sign, Scorpio. She's trying to change the narrative. I love it. I love it. Scorpio trying to hijack God's favorite sign of Cancer. Okay, please. But it's okay. It's funny. We can laugh, but we do know the truth, right? Okay. Quelly, thanks for coming, honey. Erica Martin, how does Jupiter in Cancer impact someone with the Sun in Cancer in the 5th? I'll tell you. Cancers now, Geminis had their mark in the world. They got a chance to expand, to get open. If you have things that you want to do during this next 1 year cycle in the 5th, which is of children, which has to do with play, has to do with romance, it has to do with literally how you have fun. This is, and being more childlike, this is a time where it expands. And if you move in the direction of those things, like if you're trying to have children, for example, or if you're a teacher, like I think you are, this might be a time to expand what you do in the classroom. But whatever it is, it'll happen. You don't have to push it. And then we get to see the ruler of the 5th house for you, because it's the sun. We'll see of the 6th house. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Yeah, Leo, because the sun is ruler of Leo, which is your 6th house, if that's right for you. Health issues improving. taking care of things that you've wanted to take care of with regards to your everyday routines. So we should see a general overall, this is good for me. I'm expanding. Cancers have a hard time. They move from side to side, but this is a time of real emotional, like getting in touch with our connection with our inner child and bringing that out into the world. I think we're going to see a lot more cancers. Wherever Jupiter is, we see a lot more of them. You know, we got invaded by Geminis. No offense, Terry. I love Geminis, but we did. The Geminis came out. And now we're going to see a lot more cancers, and we'll see a lot more talk about the cancer thing of children, home, nurturance, money, what brings us security. Love being able to connect YouTube. Hi, Suzanne. Thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it'll be fun to see. We're tickling CA a little bit about coming to YouTube. CA is definitely loving her radio spot, and she's loving the idea of YouTube. I don't think a lot of people love the idea of singing and dancing. You know, they're not as egocentric as maybe me, but we're working on her. In the meantime, remember that the Power Peak is at markhusson.com or Mark's Power Peak with 2 E's, PEEK.com. The password this week is Jupiter. No, it's summer. The password this week is summer. And so it's all lowercase. Go enjoy it. That CA puts a ton of hard work into it. And I don't know how she does it. God bless her. She's a workhorse for sure. And her show is Tuesdays. So tune in on Tuesdays for her and Kelly. Peggy has All My Angels on Tuesdays. Peggy also has an All My Angels YouTube. I think we got it. Unless you all have any questions, can't wait to see your astrologers on YouTube. Thank you, Denise. We're working on it for real. Taurus, Sun, and Virgo rising. As for me, and trying to work on my health right now. Oh, good. I don't think you're going to have any issues with it. I would definitely, let me see. Where are you? I have you in 2 different places. So yes. Jupiter becomes in your 3rd house if you're a Taurus rising. So, oh no, you're Virgo rising. So that puts it in the 11th. Wait a minute. It puts it in Leo's in the 11th. Yeah, 10th, 11th. So I think getting with like-minded groups is going to help a lot, like being able to connect maybe online with things that do want to accomplish what you want to do. If it's in the 11th house, it'll always be about using the power of the group to make the difference that you're going to make. Serena's YouTube channel is Life Journeys with Serena. Right, Serena? I hope I got that. Life Journeys with Serena. And if you can't find that, she has her show this afternoon. She'll be posting it, but there it is. Life Journeys with Serena. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate that. Great stuff that's up there, you guys. And believe me, if you have one, we want to support it. I would love to do that. All right. I think we got you covered. Thank you so much for being a part of today with me. I appreciate everything you are doing. I love your support. I'll see what's happening with 1-2 Radio thing and see if we can get it. Good. Carla found it. That's awesome. All right, you guys, this is Mark saying goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow. Every single day I'm going to be doing a moment with Mark for 3 minutes. So if you want to check the shorts out, get the notify button hit. And I'll see you again for the full hour next week, okay? Take care of yourself.